In this video, I am going to talk about three characters: the character of Caesar, the character of Enobarbus, and the character of Pompey. First, we have the character of Caesar. This character does not appear very much, but he is Antony's rival all the play. All what he wants is always to destroy Antony. He is one of the three leaders and the most dominant one among them. To say more, he is the most powerful of all. Caesar is a wise man of politics. Shakespeare used to create all the time a sort of contrast between him and Antony. Notice that he is after the destruction of Antony. However, he is different from Antony in many aspects. First, he is single-minded. Much of his concern revolves around politics, war and fighting. Caesar only thinks in one direction, unlike Antony, who is sometimes after pleasure and joy, expressing by that human qualities and real love. Second, Caesar is also self-asserted or self-controlled. Even in his language, he is more powerful. He lacks the generosity and the goodwill of Antony towards his followers, to Cleopatra, and to his wife. Caesar is a strong politician, yet a deceitful one, for he does not have mercy or morals whatsoever. His belief concentrates on gathering much more power than he could, not human values like Antony, who believes in those aspects. We are not allowed to penetrate into his character. With Antony the situation is different. This is so, because we are introduced to his inside, to his hesitation, to his love and infatuation, and to his sense of duty. Cleopatra also introduced herself to the others from inside, namely, her charm, her effective person, and her attitude in general. We are not allowed to penetrate to Caesar's internal psychological being. Antony and Caesar are equally great leaders. There is no room for both of them. Shakespeare keeps hinting at the fact that it will be him that is Caesar. All that has been said in this concern is a kind of foreshadowing. This is a technique by Shakespeare which tells the audience about future. So, we have this hint that it will be Caesar, because he is more lucky and powerful, and his army is even larger. These characteristics indicate that he will be the victorious at the end, and this is really what happens. If you turn to page 23, you will notice Caesar blaming Antony for neglecting duty. However, 𝒏𝒏𝒐𝒏𝒚 says that they must not forget that he is a great leader. Caesar is desperate from Antony because he says that Antony is in the bed of Ptolemy, which means the bed of Cleopatra, and that he is giving the kingdom for nothing. Caesar keeps blaming Antony. He wonders how he dances with a slave. This is an indication that he feels superior and despises the common people. The passage expresses his contempt for the lower classes, in which he says, to reel at noon, with knaves that smells of sweat. Actually, this is what Antony is doing now. He is standing with knaves that smell badly. This shows really the contrast between Antony and Caesar. Antony is kind-hearted, humble, and gentle. On the same page 25, there is another example of how he despises the lower classes. Caesar says, I should have was wished that he was a powerful man, until he were an 𝑣𝒏𝒐𝒏𝒚 man. He means with the 𝒏𝒏𝒚 man Antony. Caesar says that Antony is hated now in Rome, but he is needed because of his great abilities in the military services. He is needed although he is unlovable. This common body, like to vagabond, the stream. Those lower class people move like a vagabond flag. They go with every change. They just move from right to left. They do not have certain stand. He is making fun of the lower classes, and Caesar shows his contempt to the common people every time they follow every change in life. In this sense, they go forward and back forward. They follow every tide till they get tired of following other people. Notice that he does not mean physical and spiritual decay. Caesar describes by that the common people. Page 43 shows his self-assertion, in which there is a meeting between Caesar and Antony. Caesar says, I wrote out of audience. He is always attacking Antony and accusing him for doing wrong things all the time. Caesar is self-asserted while Antony is sensitive. He only defends himself. This is Antony's reply, "Sir, he feel upon me." But Caesar says, "You have broken your oath." And again accusing Antony. It is a language. But Caesar says, "You have broken your oath." And again accusing Antony. It is a language of power, means that you have broken your promises. Antony is always a defensive, in the weaker position. Later on, Caesar offers his sister Octavia to Antony to marry her. Although Caesar loves his sister, he sacrifices his sister to his enemy Antony for political purposes. Some critics say that he did that deliberately, because everybody in the play knows that Antony will not leave Cleopatra. Antony is chained to Cleopatra's magic, and this is clear enough from the very beginning. Therefore, critics say that he did that on purpose in order to make a fight and destroy him. But we do not know whether this is true or not. It is quite easy to believe that Caesar can do that. Caesar's personality clarifies this very point. There is an indication or a foreshadowing on page 53 of how he is a very lucky person. We means of course Caesar. There is many indications that luck serves him. The soothsayer predicts the future. This is a Shakespearean technique of foreshadowing. He says, Caesar's therefore by his side. All this carry a contrast between the two leaders. He tells him that the angels which keep him are noble, is noble, courageous. Caesar's is not. Only when Caesar is not around, and only when Caesar is not next to him, is not there. The time he is there, Antony's angel that protects him becomes afraid and frightened. But his angels are greater and more powerful. This hints that Caesar is more powerful. Look at the next page 55, in which Antony is commenting on the soothsayer's prophecy, say to Ventidius. With him. He says whether it is magic or chance, this man has spoken the truth. The very. Under his chance. The very dice means the very luck. If we. He speeds. Antony admits the fact that if we play the game of luck, Caesar is quicker than him. Even if their cocks fight together, his cock would definitely win. He is more lucky than him, and this is obvious by the end. I will to Egypt. My pleasure lies. This is what he is going to do. Many images are put here to serve this purpose. Caesar is a very lucky person, and Antony is always this jealous man of such a wonderful luck. Caesar is stronger and the most dominant partner, yet he is not faithful. He launched a war against Pompey, his external enemy, and finished him. He then destroys Lepidus, who is the third and the most weak partner. Antony is left to be finished by turn. He begins insulting him in public and talks badly of him. His main purpose focuses now on destroying poor Antony. Of course, he sends letters to Cleopatra asking her to betray Antony for her safety. First, when he offers his sister to Antony, he talks to her gently, showing genuine feelings. In 2 occasions in the play, Caesar shows genuine feelings. This is the first, whereas the second is when he hears the death of Antony. In fact, he expresses gentle emotions. This can be found on page 179. Caesar does not believe in the correctness of the message that Antony is dead. Notice that this is a contrast to his deviousness, to his evil nature. He says, by the way, the breaking. A greater crack. This death of Antony should make a great break in the world. It is obvious to notice that the death of any hero should make a great tragic explosion in the world. The world should be now in total confusion. Lions are walking in the streets, and people who live should go and live in the lion place, in the lions' dens. He continues saying that the death of Antony is not just a minor event, simply because half of the world is his name. They were 2 uncompetitive leaders, Caesar and Antony, who dominate most of the earth. Now, the death of Antony means the death of the second part of the world. That is why it is not a single event. It is not simple. In the next passage, namely page 181, Caesar now is lamenting Antony. He says, "O Antony, I have to this. In other words, I have pushed you to this end. I have driven you to this tragic end. However, I must. On thine. There is something in our bodies, for it should be either you or me. I should have driven you to this decline, or you should have driven me. But I am sorry to find that it had to be you. One of us should die. The two of us could not go together. The two great leaders cannot usually go hand in hand. So, it has to be one of each. We could not exist together in the whole world. But yet let me lament thee. With tears. With tears. Let me lament you with tears. This is an indication of his true feeling. That thou, all design, in top of all, you were always in the best condition, and in the best shape. Then he says, my mate in empire. You were my mate in empire. You were my companion leader, my friend. In front of me in the battle. You inspired me. You were my eyes in everything, because they used to witness battles together. This moaning is very moving in one way or other. Here is the images given for this, that our stars could not meet together. There must be an end due to the fact that we were equally great. But our stars have led us to this unequal end. Could one imagine that the one who tells that is nobody but Caesar? Caesar was jealous because other people liked Antony more than him. But Antony was jealous of Caesar's luck, good luck. Now I am going to talk about the character of Enobarbus. Enobarbus, this great friend of Antony, is actually an important character in the play. He is a Choric character, like the Greek and Roman chorus. Choric comes from chorus, which is a Greek play that has many dramatic functions. The chorus in Greek tragedy used to comment on events, on characters, and to talk about the past, to give the audience a flashback to the past in order to foreshadow the events and to foreshadow the future, that is to say, to tell the audience what might happen in the future. So, this character has this kind of Choric function. It comments, sometimes analyses things, explains many things, and foreshadows. It keeps the audience some kind of guide minds. It sometimes criticizes what is going on, or happening in the play. It may sometimes criticize the behavior of a certain character. This is Enobarbus's function in the play. Enobarbus is always commenting, explaining, giving a piece of advice to Antony, talking about the past, especially the passage in which he describes the meeting between the two lovers. Enobarbus was the one who introduces to the audience this first meeting, and delivers sickness, if you remember. So, Enobarbus gives his audience this journey to the past. And in some other places in the play, we see that he comments and foreshadows the future. This was when he describes Antony's marriage to Octavia. He comments on this very incident as being a political marriage not based on real affections. Antony will never leave Cleopatra, and he will go back to her, and that he cannot forget anything about her. This is really a foreshadowing of events. In some other occasions, he advises Antony to fight by land, and not to fight by sea. He said to Antony, if you go and fight by sea, you will be a loser, and this is actually what happens later on, because Antony did not listen to him. In addition, many times in the play, Enobarbus criticizes the infatuation of Antony and Cleopatra. Notice that the relationship between Antony and Cleopatra was commented on and criticized many times in the play by Enobarbus, and in some other contexts. He says to Cleopatra, do not go to, or do not come to the battle, because you will carry the destructive effect to Antony. The Choric character is the one which plays the role of Enobarbus. The group of chorus comment on the play and give the audience guidelines and suggestions. In other places, Enobarbus appears as a normal character. He had got a conflict within himself. This conflict occurs between self-interest and loyalty. In other words, the conflict is between his loyalty to Antony, his master, and his self-interest. And this really happens at the end of the play, when Antony gets stubborn. He knows that he is a loser, yet he insists on taking the fight. However, when Antony falls, he decides to leave him, and go to Caesar's camp. He left his master Antony alone without a faithful friend. Later on, he dies. His heart breaks because of sorrow, that his master was quite generous with him. We will go now through the play in order to look at all these points: foreshadowing, advising, and events. Let's start with page 13. Enobarbus took the role of preparing the audience to the suit table atmosphere. Before this, we see him drinking at the beginning of the play on Cleopatra's health. But, here, on page 13, Antony tells him that they are to leave for Egypt. So, he shows cynicism. Enobarbus is cynic and humorous, at the same time, under a compelling occasion. Esteemed nothing. So, in such circumstances, woman should be cancelled. Let her go away to hell. Enobarbus, in many occasions in the play, talks badly about women in general. He has a low opinion about women. To him, they are nothing. Cleopatra, a celerity in dying. This is actually a humor. He is making fun of Cleopatra. First, he says let women die, go to hell, they esteem nothing. Now, he is saying that when Cleopatra hears the news of Antony's departure, she will die instantly. Then, he says, I have seen her dying many times. She must be enjoying this because Cleopatra pretends, plays tricks, and shows them false image on her. So, I am sure she will die now. She has something that attached her to death, so she must be enjoying this. Yet, Antony says, she is cunning. Thought. Enobarbus immediately says or answers him, Alack, sir, no comma ... of pure love. At the last moment he breaks this by saying that her passions are made of finest love. That is strange because he talks about her, and then immediately defends her, because this is the truth actually. We trust Enobarbus, because he has got this clear vision than anybody else in the play. She would like to pretend and to play tricks, yet she has got this strong side in her. This strong emotional and spiritual side. On page 45, Agrippa knows that Antony will marry Octavia. This is a foreshadowing. He is telling the audience what might happen, because he has this clear vision. To Enobarbus, or if, return it again. The love of Antony and Cleopatra will never last long. It is a pretended love, and once they get rid of Pompey, the external threat, they will return it again because it is a borrowed love. It is not a real love. That is why he is hinting that this is a political marriage, not real love. Then he says, you shall have else to do. Antony and Caesar will fight again when they have nothing else to do. Now, they are engaged in the war against Pompey. In fact, the marriage between Antony and Octavia did not last long, and Caesar and Antony had a fight again. Now turn to page 49, which is a journey to the past, a flashback. Here is a description of the meeting between them in the past. This helps the audience to find out about the past, about this particular character, the way she behaves and the way she acts. So, this enhances the audience's knowledge about a particular person or event in the past. Then, on page 51, there is a description of her beauty. Enobarbus describes throughout, giving us extra information about Antony. Here, we learn more about the character of Cleopatra. This is on page 51. Enobarbus says, never, he will not. This is said to Maecenas. This character says, now, Antony, leave her utterly. Will Antony leave her and go? This is again a foreshadowing of events. Enobarbus demonstrates the fact that he will never leave Cleopatra for Octavia, because she is irresistible. Age cannot wither her. She cannot be destroyed by age, nor custom stale her infinite variety. She has got this charismatic quality in her character. She is very charming and beautiful. The more she grows, the more charming and fantastic she gets. In other words, a quite distinctive character she is considered to be. This is a reference to her character and to her behavior as well. Of course, later on, he says that Antony will leave to his Egyptian queen. Now, to page 71, Menes asks, then is Caesar and he forever knit together? Now, the marriage is done, everything is done, the marriage is over. So, Menes asks, will Caesar and Antony be close, and together for good? Will the marriage of Antony to Octavia be the bond that will tie them for the rest of their life? So, what Enobarbus suggests in this particular case is, I think so too, but, 𝒏𝒕𝒐𝒏𝒚, if I am to predict the future, I will not prophesy, which means that the very thing that keeps them together, which is the marriage, will be the same thing that will cause their fight again. Octavia is considered to be the bond between Antony and Caesar. She ties their friendship, she will be the very strangler, the same thing that will kill this amity, this friendship between them. Again, this is a foreshadowing of events, because this is really what happens in the future. Antony broke the marriage, and he returned to Cleopatra, and a war between him and Caesar took place. Predicting the future, he continues saying that this leader will go back to his Egyptian dish, which means to Cleopatra. This is what he predicts actually. He insists that the sighs of Octavia, the tears and the agony will blow Caesar up. So when Antony leaves Octavia and goes to Cleopatra, Octavia will go to her brother Caesar with tears, and this will be the cause of their fight again. Then he says, Antony will occasion here. Enobarbus is saying that this marriage is false. He married for political purposes. This is really what he says in Act 2 before action complicates and before Antony changes his mind and decides to leave. So, Enobarbus sees things clearly in the play more than any character. He is cynic, coarse, sharp sometimes and tough. Again still playing the Choric job, on page 105. Here, he is trying to stop Antony from self-destruction. He is trying to persuade Antony not to lose the battle. Enobarbus is saying in this context, your ships are not our muleteers. The men are not well prepared and Caesar proves himself always the stronger. So, it is better to fight by land. Actually, Antony is better at land than at sea, whereas Caesar's men are far better at sea. He is trying desperately to stop him from destroying himself. But, here Antony is insisting, by sea, by sea. Actually, this is an important moment in the play, because if Antony went by land, things would become different. But he did not listen to Enobarbus. Enobarbus says, Sir, you are throwing a very good chance of winning the battle. Distract your army, footman. Knowledge. You refuse the military success you have been always famous for. You are changing your military tactic. There is no logical reason to do that. You are destroying yourself in the time that you have the chance of winning. You are not prepared for sea. Why should you do a thing that you are not certain of? Now, we will turn to other occasions where he functions as a normal character in the play, who has a conflict between his self-interest and his honor or loyalty to his friend. Look at page 123. Here is the moment when he gets the conflict in him. This is after the last of the fight. Enobarbus is on his own now, saying, mine honesty to square, which means, my loyalty and myself begin to conflict, begin to oppose each other. So, there is a conflict now between his honesty and his self-interest. The loyalty. Mere folly. My faith is fool because I am faithful to a fool who is Antony. Enobarbus here, at this stage, begins to lose interest in his master. Yet he that th story at this very moment, he decides to leave Antony, his master, to Caesar. So, this is his conflict between his loyalty to his master and his self-interest. Because his master, Antony, is not as great as he used to be, he leaves him to Caesar. Actually, this what happens later on. However, when he realizes that Antony is losing, he thinks of the shame of his doing. This is on page 147, Alexis did revolt. Leave his master Antony. Enobarbus is talking to himself in a sort of confusion. Alexis is another follower of Antony. What he did is that he went to Judea on affairs of Antony. What he did there is that he persuaded the king of Judea, who is Herod, to join Caesar, and leave by that Antony. For this pains hanged him. For this reason, Caesar hanged him because he is a traitor. So, in spite of convincing people to join Caesar's camp, Alexis was hanged by Caesar, which is his reward. We can say that this is a heightened contrast between Caesar and Antony. Canidius and trust. So, Enobarbus now is talking about other soldiers who left their master and joined the other camp. What happened to them? They may be alive and enjoying themselves, but they are not honored by Caesar. Because of that, he regrets and feels shame of what he did, admitting the fact that he's done ill. And after that his feelings of regret are made stronger by Antony's reactions. Antony did not punish him or feel angry with him. Antony rewarded him and sent him the treasure. This made him even feel more sorry, and his feeling of regret is made stronger by Antony's forgiveness and generosity. The conclusion, in this case a wish of death. Notice this on page 149, when Antony sent him the treasure, although he joined Caesar's camp. Enobarbus, I am alone. So, after his regret of doing his mistake, Antony gives him the treasure. I am alone, the villain of the earth. I feel so bad, and no one feels more bad than me, or as I do. Oh, Antony, thou mine of bounty. Antony, you are so generous. Enobarbus then says, how wouldn't? With gold, he admits that he have put himself in the low place, and he has paid for my disloyalty by sending a treasure to him, sending him this gold. This, in fact, blows his heart. This blows my heart. Outstrike thought. In other words, if my pain and severe sadness did not kill my heart, I will break it with something else. I determine to kill myself, if sorrow will not do that. But thought will. I feel. But he feels that his sadness is more than enough to break his heart. I fight against thee? No. Part of life. Now, he says, now, what I will do is that I will go and put myself in a ditch and die. This is where I belong to. Obviously, Enobarbus condemned himself, and later on he died. Turn to page 155, to see Enobarbus dying. Oh, sovereign of true melancholy. He is addressing the moon, because in old times, the moon was the mistress of melancholy and depression. Make the poison drop upon me, that life. To my will, my hang on me. So, now he wishes death. He wants to die really. Throw my heart. All foul thoughts. Now, my heart is already dry with sadness, with grief, and it will finish soon. O Antony. In particular. As far as Enobarbus is concerned, Antony is a noble man. He does not want him to forgive him because he insulted him so much. In particular. All that he wants is to forgive him for his own sake, but he does not want Antony to forgive him for what he did. Here is a moving passage, but let the world write my name in history as a master leaver and a fugitive. Enobarbus' heart breaks out of sorrow. Since Enobarbus is the faithful friend of Antony, why did he leave him? Part of the answer is his saying, it is foolish to follow a fool. He always criticizes the relationship between Antony and Cleopatra. And at another moment, he cannot see why Antony decides to fight by sea, although he knows that he is not up to it. Because he is a fool now. Why should I follow a fool? The other reason is that he has an internal conflict. This conflict sometimes takes him this way and another times takes him that way. And this conflict actually led to his end. A third reason is made by Shakespeare on purpose. There is an imagery of a global degradation. Enobarbus is clearer than anybody in the play. Now we have the character of Pompey. Pompey is the ruler of the little island, the few islands at the side of Italy. He has always threatened the Roman Empire. So, in Rome there was an internal conflict which was between the three leaders and the civil wars. There was an external conflict presented by Pompey who used to attack them from his island. On page 35, Pompey says, I shall do well. Here is when he first comes. Notice that Pompey does not appear much in the play as a character, but we heard about him from others. His first appearance is in Act 2. He is optimistic, in the sense that he finds in himself the ability to win the world. This optimistic outlook comes from the fact that, the people love me. To th full. Immediately, Pompey gives the audience the reasons behind this hope. Mark Antony. At dinner, Caesar gets money, hearts. Lepidus flatters both. Cares for him. Caesar gets money, land, and power, but he loses heart, means he loses the affection of his people. Lepidus, the third leader, is weak. Nobody cares for him. Due to that he thinks that he is now in a strong position, and he might win. Pompey gives his idea about his three enemies. It is a fact that Antony is in Egypt enjoying himself and forgetting his duty. Caesar is losing popularity, that is losing the affection of the people, and the third leader, Lepidus, is weak and nobody cares for him. Therefore, there is hope for him left, there is a chance for winning. He always believes that he is fighting for justice. You can find that on page 65. This is a moment where he explains to his enemies, Caesar and Antony, why he is doing so. And he thinks that he is the champion, and that he is doing the right thing, that he is defending the empire, or avenging his father. However, later on, he accepts the bribe of Sardinia and Sicily. His enemy, Caesar in particular, offered him a bribe, 2 little islands for peace. Pompey naturally accepted this. This shows his double standards. To you all three. For the gods. Pompey is talking to his enemies, the three leaders. I do not know. Our son and friends. He explains to them that he is taking up his army in order to avenge his father. Since Julius, laboring for him, they are in one way or another doing the same. Actually, the three were avenging Julius Caesar, who is Caesar's father. What was't? Conspire? And what? The arm-dressed. Brutus and other people conspire because they want to seek freedom, to drench. But a man? Here, we have 2 points. He explains why he is taking up army. First of all, because he wants to avenge his father, Pompey. The second point, is that he is doing this for freedom. Immediately, after that, and this is on page 67, he accepts the bribe of Caesar. You have offer. Tagus undinted. Sicily, and Sardinia were offered to him. It is his duty now to clean the sea of all his savage pirates. Then, he says that there will be no war. And to leave here with no damaged or broken swords. He intends to go back to Rome with all his weapons, with no war. Freedom, the central reason for their fighting, is cancelled because of the bribe. He sold freedom for a self-interest. This actually is a part of the Roman morality. Page 77, this is after discussing the peace treaty. This is Pompey, and his friends tells him about a plan to kill the other 3 leaders. So, now the 3 leaders are enjoying their time for peace and drinking on the same ship with Pompey. But things are not the same as they appear. Things are not quite peaceful. His friend says to him, the 3 leaders are engaged with pleasure. So why not to kill them, and get rid of them all, and you will be the only great leader for the whole world. Manners says in the Shakespearean language, these 3 will share in thy vessel. Let me cut the cable. All there is, thine. Pompey answers him, this thou. Been good service. Which means that you should have done this without telling me. This also means, by the way, that Pompey does not really refuse the idea. He does not mind if the 3 leaders were killed. But, what he does mind is that he taught him or told him. It must be done automatically without being told. However, everything is spoiled since he has been told by manners. This is actually the morality of the Roman world. He says in this context, thou must. Mine honor. My profit, my self-interest does not lead my honor. Honor leads his profit. So, he thinks himself an honorable man. As if he says, if you had done it without telling me, I would not have minded. Doing so, his honor could be affected. Repent. Well done. But must. And drink. In morals, there is no difference between thieves and thief. There is no difference between a murderer and a murder. So, he does not mind the murder, but he wants his honor to be saved. Later on, we are told that he is killed by Caesar. Caesar breaks his promises, This is after the peace treaty. We are again with a description of the Roman relationships, the Roman identity, which goes in contrast with the Egyptian morality. This is the end of our subject. Please, do not forget to click notification bell, like, share, comment, subscribe my channel.